After the New York Rangers Game 1 loss to the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals, some fans are calling for some controversial lineup decisions, including Adam Fox, and why the New York Rangers shouldn't move away from their current game plan as it may come to fruition for them in this series. All of that and more in this episode of Rangers Digest. And guys, welcome back to Rangers Digest. My name is Darius Domingues, and we're just starting to grow the channel here. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. That includes trades, any news, coaching decisions, whatever that may be, even free agency. But for right now, the New York Rangers are still in the playoffs in the third round. And without further ado, let's get right into it, guys. Fox out for Zac Jones. Could this be the move? Some fans are calling for it, and I'm not so convinced personally, but we'll dive into the nitty-gritty of it. Some fans are calling for Adam Fox to come out, and that might be because he has an apparent injury that has not been disclosed, but some fans are speculating that it may be hindering his play and holding him back, and we're going to get into it, especially his game 1 stats, which were not great compared to his peers. But anyway, with how visibly hurt Fox is, I truly wonder if we'd be better off just going Zac Jones. I respect the toughness, but he's playing at like 40%, and you can tell he's out there trying. This is what Adam Fox does, and he's a great player, but he is not playing up to the standard that we all know him to do and to be. And, you know, if you can't do that in the playoffs, I wonder if you take a look at taking him out. Personally, I think you have to play Adam Fox, and we'll get into why. Because if you put in Zac Jones, he has no experience. He has no experience in the NHL playoffs, and this was something else that came out as well. Probably reading too deep into this, but based on Trouba's laugh, it doesn't exactly sound the best for Fox. And this was from a clip where Adam Fox, through a chuckle, says he's good to go for the Eastern Conference Final. This was ahead of Game 1, and as soon as the question was asked, Jacob Trouba kind of laughed. And maybe people are reading too much into it, but that kind of alludes to the fact that Adam Fox is not close to healthy, and all of his teammates know it, and he's battling through something, and good for him for battling through. We all know that these guys are all warriors, and Adam Fox wants to win a Stanley Cup, but at the end of the day, how much is it hindering his play? That is what you have to weigh in situations like this. This is what you have to look at, right? And again, from Louis, New York Rangers Louis, it's not going to happen, but the lineup decision I would probably make is Zac Jones in for Adam Fox. I love Fox, but a superstar on one leg is simply not better than your average NHLer. I think that's obvious at this point, and a lot of people are calling for it, and a lot of people, if you look at Twitter, are saying that is a delusional take, and we'll get into it. And this is my take on the whole situation. If you look at Zac Jones's hockey DB page, yes, he found some success last postseason in the playoffs with the Wolfpack, with 6 points in 9 games, but he hasn't played in the playoffs at the NHL level. He hasn't. He's only played 31 games this year at the NHL level, and again, 9 points, which is pretty good. He's a bit on the smaller side at 5'10", 176, which makes a difference in these playoffs when you have guys like Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett coming down on you on the forecheck. Things like that make a big difference if you don't have the experience to do it. I think the time to have Zac Jones inserted into lineup to give him that experience was probably in the first round against the Washington Capitals, and I think unfortunately we have missed the boat a little bit on that. If you are the New York Rangers, I'm not sure you can insert this player into the playoffs now. I think Adam Fox at even 50% is better than Zac Jones at this point because he has the experience, he knows what to expect, and has the poise for certain situations, even if he isn't 100% and making some mistakes. And I just don't think you can insert Zac Jones into the lineup. You're almost setting him up for failure at this point if you were to do that. Yes, he is healthy, and yes, you do have that confidence in him as a prospect, but again, hasn't really played in the playoffs at all for that matter, and certainly not at the NHL level, and really doesn't have that many games under his belt in the NHL over the last couple of years either. Got some looks earlier in his career, and yes, he's worked his way up and played 31 games this season, which is pretty good. But again, nothing crazy. I wouldn't set him up for failure like that, especially taking him out for Adam Fox. Adam Fox eats a lot of minutes, plays, north of 20 minutes a game. Inserting Zac Jones, it's setting everyone up for failure on the defensive side, I think, because you have to start spreading the wealth around with numbers going other places, and maybe those players are not used to that as well. But if you look at the chart from game one, I mean, based on these stats alone, Adam Fox did not have a great showing. Ryan Lilligren, of course, had a pretty bad game as well, made a lot of mistakes. The Florida Panthers were goading the New York Rangers into making a lot of mistakes. And, Adam Fox just wasn't fantastic in that game last night. So I'm not sure you take a look at taking him out, but there's obviously something bothering this player. He's playing through some sort of injury like most players are at this point in the postseason. I just don't think it would be a smart idea based on experience to take him out for Zac Jones at this point. I don't think it would make sense unless he gets injured further to the point that he cannot play. But based on what I saw last night, yes, he struggled. I do think if the Rangers make a couple changes to their game, which we'll get into in just a second, they will find success. And I just don't think that lineup decision personally makes a lot of sense for the New York Rangers. But to get into it, keep playing your game if you're the New York Rangers. Do not get discouraged by the scorecard of 3-0 in game one. Continue to play your game because it was a much closer game than people are alluding to. Really, it was. The Rangers had their chances. They couldn't capitalize. If a couple of those go the other way, the Rangers could have easily won that game 3-1, right? If luck was on the Rangers' side. So keep playing your game if you are the New York Rangers. And if you look at this, I'm sorry, but panicking after last night is just not logical. We had the better of the chances. The shot differential was 3. The hit differential was 1. It was a very, very even game if you really take those things into account. The Rangers just needed 1 to get the momentum started, but the puck didn't bounce their way tonight. And if you look at the deserve to win meter, which is hilarious, I love looking at these throughout the playoffs, the Rangers had a 64.7% chance at winning last night's game. So again, much more even game than what was alluded to after the scorecard, and much was put into the Panthers' forecheck and all that they ran the Rangers out of the building. If the Rangers got 1 goal, MSG would have been rocking. The momentum of the game could have shifted. You never know what happens at that point. It did feel like the Rangers at one point were going to tie the game in the third period. They were really pressing it on. So I wouldn't change much if you are the New York Rangers. I think you continue to play your game and take it to the Florida Panthers. And if you take from this, Florida is way better than the New York Rangers, then I don't know what to tell you. Offense definitely has to do better, need to generate more, but 2 fluke goals against, didn't allow a lot of high danger chances and just didn't capitalize. And again, everyone keeps holding on to this. They lost game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final in 1994 as well, the year they won the Stanley Cup. So much to like still heading into game 2. Not sure you make that lineup decision. I think that was an interesting take, but wouldn't do it. I don't think you stray too far away from your game plan either. I think you absolutely have to move the puck faster. That would be the key to the Rangers' success, and we'll just have to see what they continue to do. But last couple things to note. Schneider had a breakaway. Cooley had a breakaway as well. I thought he was inserting himself physically as well. Trocheck had some chances. Wenberg was all right. And you can just take a look at all these stats. Lafreniere was around it all night. So one of these is going to go the Rangers' way. You just have to think it's going to happen. So Lafreniere is going to break through at some point. These are some great stats. So hopefully he does break through, and we'll have you covered for that breakthrough here on the channel. So if you're not yet subscribed, reminder to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video.